Hey, thanks for watching my video. This is Airboy, and I like to call this episode Barbarian Bargain Books. First issue we're going to discuss on Barbarian Bargain Books is an issue, Hulk 105. It was published in 1968. It was a difficult time in American history, 1968. We saw the loss of both Martin Luther King and Bobby Kennedy to assassination. The country was enthralled in the Vietnam War with the Tet Offensive happening in February. And the entire nation was what was on a Red Scare. And I really think it informed a little bit Marvel's writers, them being socially conscious. We're going to see some of their attitudes and their efforts to maybe make the readers a little bit more socially aware themselves in these books. Hulk 105, of course, when it was released, it was a 12-cent comic book. This same book now you can find in mid-grade, anywhere between 30 to 50 bucks. I actually think I paid about $20 for this book here just 6 months ago. And so it's very affordable. At least it won't cost you over a tank of gas. And if you don't have a lot of money to spend on the hobby, I think it's a good thing to collect. Hulk 105 starts out with this awesome cover. Recently we saw homage of this cover on the first Immortal Hulk, done by Alex Ross. A great cover to collect. The art was done by Marie Severin. Marie Severin first got her experience in EC Comics back in the Golden Age, and then later started to work for Marvel. You can check her artistic work here inside. Comic published in 1968. Stan Lee was the editor. Bill Everett, Roy Thomas did the script. You see a classic motif there of a girl in a red dress, damsel in distress. It's a real common thing you saw during the Golden Age, and of course Marie Severin is bringing it into this Silver Age book. Hulk carrying Betty Ross. Check out this ad. It's pretty funny. It says, drink the pounds off fast. Drink the pounds off fast. Have a milkshake or a blizzard or something like that. Do it yourself. Gain a pound a day. Funny how they tried to gain weight back in those days. It'd be an anti-obesity ad if it was nowadays. This story is pretty interesting. Hulk, of course, trying to save Betty Ross from other people, and Betty Ross trying to get away from the Hulk. Like what the Hulk says here, the girl needs nothing, not when she's with Hulk, but Hulk will do as girl wishes. Sounds like me on every date I had before I got married. This storyline follows where I guess some thugs take over Betty Ross, and then Hulk's powers go away. He gets shot in this panel, and so he's wounded. Can't figure out why he turned into Bruce Banner. Meanwhile, you've got the cronies here, the main bads. I don't know if these are Russians. The dialect suggests they're Russians, and they send a torpedo into New York City, and instead of containing a nuclear warhead, it contains a first appearance character called the Missing Link. Another radioactive beast. The Red Scare was a big problem back in those days. Russia detonated the atomic bomb in 1949. China detonated another one in 1964, and then in 1965 China sent its first nuke into missile, created nuclear missile. So there's a big scare about radioactivity. Of course, that's why the Hulk was created. And here we've got his enemy here. First appearance of the Missing Link, a caveman type figure that morphs into this radioactive monster with incredible strength, unleashed on New York to destroy. You see the Red Scare, slanty-eyed, unfortunately racially slanted Chinese enemies. The big Red Scare. It was quite common for us growing on the 80s. That's people were fearful of communism, sort of thing. Here they're loading the Missing Link into this a missile or torpedo that they're going to launch on the United States. Pretty cool ads back in the day, some cheap t-shirts. It's a Missing Link again. We see him as he approaches New York. Evidently, not only was he a caveman, he had some homicidal tendencies. Here the Hulk, of course, as Bruce Banner trying to get out of the car before he turns into the Hulk again because he had just been wounded. And then he wants to escape from the authorities. Police car runs into him, and so he burrows into the subway and jumps on a subway train and rides it out, wondering what the grandma in the subway's thinking there. And then he escapes the subway, decides to get out of there, and then burrows through the ground, comes out of the earth, and appears on the onto the street. There you see the hydrant. And of course, this is what the inspiration for the cover on the front, with Hulk coming out of the ground. Alex Ross borrowed this, of course, for the Immortal Hulk storyline, except instead of a hydrant in the background, it's a gravestone or a tombstone. Here lies Bruce Banner. Takes on the missing link. Marie Severin, who did the art here, her brother actually worked for EC Comics during the Golden Age, and I think that's how she got her start as a colorist. And she did a number of Hulk issues. This is probably one of her most famous covers. Hulk then again can't quite figure out why he's transforming back into Bruce Banner. You know, it's a Jekyll and Hyde thing going on. Obviously, the Hulk is a ripoff of the classic story of Jekyll and Hyde, with the exception that he's more of a heroic figure, even as the Hulk, whereas Hyde was obviously evil. Mr. Fantastic, they're trying to concoct a way by which they can remove the Hulk from Banner. And of course, Talbot's involved in all the typical annoyances to the Hulk's life. Meanwhile, the missing link still is rampaging through. Kind of ironic, it's going to take a radioactive monster they're hunting to defeat the radioactive monster sent to hunt them. Only the Hulk will be able to intervene. There you see the cop getting bitch slapped by the missing link. Hulk taking on then the missing link himself. And the fight ensues. Monster battle after monster battle. Cars are thrown. You can see Marvel in these days full of action. Obviously, this is not Kirby's drawing, but Severin is taking from Kirby's artwork style, in the sense that almost every panel is full of some type of action, whereas DC at the time was a little bit more dramatic and less active. Hulk again turning back, and unfortunately it's in the wrong time because the missing link is again run loose, and of course we're going to figure out next issue what happens now, because now we don't have the Hulk. Check it out. Would you believe Hulk continued? Probably borrowed from the old Batman TV show, that type of thing. Here, adds to sell some grit. Enjoy reading these comics, even the ads. Second age, golden age of Marvel is here. You've got an early ad for the Spectacular Spider-Man. Of course, a typical fishing pole ad you see in a lot of books. This is interesting. Greenskin's grab bag. I think one of the first write-ins after Hulk got his own title again. And it's interesting to read all the letters that came in. One reader was upset in the bottom here because this issue was 105, and of course when they restarted the Hulk, they started it with 102, and he's asking the question, why would you do that? And of course the Marvel bullpen replies they had no choice because of the way the postal system worked, or copyrights or whatnot. They had to continue with 102 after Tales of Astonish. 132 Roman soldiers. Would have loved to have found them somewhere. Only $1.95. I'm sure it'd be $100 if you could find that now. We're going to gut each issue just like a stuck pig on a winter day and just eviscerate it and watch its entrails spill out. Something I enjoy doing. I like to butcher things. Kind of like I've butchered this video.